Hey there, guys. So I want to thank you for taking the time to check out today's live stream. So, of course, what we're going to be going over today is building the mindset that builds muscle. So, of course, guys, before I do get started, of course, take a few moments to check out my website if you are interested in learning more about online fitness coaching. It is bponlinefitness.com. There's a ton of information on there related to online fitness coaching, as well as free resources that you can check out to, of course, learn more about fitness, nutrition, recovery, and just advice that you can take with you that can help benefit your routine at the moment. So definitely make use of that. Again, I always upload to my, of course, blog every Friday. And then also, I do have an email list that you can sign up to. I usually upload to that email list pretty much every, of course, Monday. Share that through the email. So definitely check that out if that's something that you're interested in. I apologize, guys, if the internet connection is kind of spotty a little bit. Hopefully, it'll get cleared up here in just a moment. But again, I really do appreciate you guys in taking the time to check out what I do have to offer. So let's go ahead and really get started and get going with this particular stream on building the mindset that builds muscle. So in this stream, I wanted to take a few moments to really change up a little bit of what I've been talking about. And so, what I want to discuss in particular today is outside of just the aspects of fitness and nutrition, discuss basically more on how we can create a mindset that is really going to keep us consistent and disciplined within our routine. So, these are a handful of the topics that we're going to be going over today. And again, I'm going to really take time to discuss this because I think this is a very important aspect of success when it comes to not only, of course, getting better in your fitness and workout routine, but also getting better when it comes to nutrition, improving every aspect of your life, building healthier habits. All of these different aspects are really going to be influenced and benefit by having the proper mindset. So you're going to learn a little bit about thinking like an athlete, not just an exerciser, committing to the process before chasing results, measuring success by what you can control. Patience is a performance skill. Treat recovery as part of your training plan. View setbacks as feedback, not failure. Build confidence through small daily wins. Master the fundamentals before looking for shortcuts and becoming the person who naturally builds muscle. So these are some of the points that we're going to be touching on today. So the first point we want to talk about, of course, is thinking like an athlete and not just an exerciser. So the way that we approach our routine should be to a degree specifically focusing on not just treating exercise as this sort of, this thing that we have to do or this thing that is done on the side. Keep in mind that exercise is more than just, again, it's more than just like if like when you think of like a product or service, like with a product, you're getting something in return, like it's that one item, but then with a service, you're getting a continuous, investment or sort of a feedback from that. And so you kind of need to treat sort of your exercise as more of this long-term thing rather than this just here and there um, sort of aspect, if that makes sense. So it is truly an investment. The way you approach exercise really needs to be seen as an investment rather than something that is where you're just going to show up here and there, if that makes sense. Not sure if this is the best sort of analogy for that, but what I'm trying to say is it's not like you're just purchasing something, it's about continuously investing into something. So train with purpose. Understand what each workout is designed to improve instead of simply completing random exercises. Creating a structure in your routine is very important. And once you have that proper structure, it is really going to benefit you in the long term and get you the results in an efficient manner. Now, you may not get the results as fast as you would expect, but it's better to focus on creating a routine that's really sufficient and that's working around your goals and that you're targeting and oscillating each of the muscles needed for overall optimal growth. You want to prioritize preparation. So athletes usually value warm-ups, mobility, proper technique, hydration, and nutrition before performance begins. So how you again prepare for workouts is very important. How you get started in your routine, and then as well as what you do in your routine, and making sure at the same time that you emphasize what you do outside of your routine. You also want to track your progress. This is something that I've mentioned time and time again because what this does is this is not, when it comes to tracking progress, it's not just the aspect of writing it down and, that's it. Like you're using tracking progress as a form of accountability. It's showing you where you were last week, and then it's showing you, okay, what do I need to do this week in order to progress moving forward? And the same can be said for your repetitions, how your energy is, and your recovery. So your training decisions are based on feedback. So the more that you're able to log that information and go back and view it and sort of see what you need to do, for this week, again, it gives you that feedback loop continuously so you know where you stand as far as the progress in your workouts. And like I said, at the same time, it gives you that form of accountability. Also, you want to respect recovery, which is sleep, rest days, and having balanced nutrition. These are all essential parts of progression and not just signs that you are doing less. So the next point you want to think about is committing to the process before chasing the results. How we focus on the process is going to matter more again than just really emphasizing too much of the results themselves. So I accidentally have this slide repeated. So when we think about the process, what we have to think about primarily is what we're doing day to day. What can I do today that is going to progress me moving forward in my routine? What can I do that is going to lead me in the right direction? And again, that kind of goes back to that feedback loop. So whenever you have more of that feedback loop, that is going to really give you more of the tangible sort of evidence that you can use to move forward in the correct direction. So again, focus on what you're doing each day and think about what small part of my routine can I improve? What is something that I can improve today? And you need to go into each workout with a form of intention and a form of focus. So or excuse me, yes. Patience is a performance skill. So muscle repair may take longer. So adequate rest is going to help your body rebuild damaged muscle tissue and prepare for the next workout. So how you focus on staying patient in your routine, again, emphasizing more of that rest is really going to lead to, again, happening more efficiently. Joints and connective tissues need attention. Tendons and ligaments often recover more slowly than muscles, making mobility, controlled technique, and proper progression increasingly important. So, when you're allowing your joints and ligaments to be able to recover in the same way as your muscles, again, this is going to make it so much, you're going to be able to perform workouts so much more efficiently when you jump back into them and you give time between, each workout session. Another thing that I usually always try to mention too is that, for example, when you're doing workouts, let's say you're doing a back and biceps workout a particular day, and you're doing chest, triceps, shoulders, core, legs. So you're doing all these workouts each particular day. But if you were to do, like, let's say you have a routine where you're sort of focusing on more muscle groups at once. You don't want to have those workout sessions to be so close together. You want to give your body enough time between the stress that you place on those muscles, if that makes sense. So you wouldn't want to have, a back-to-back, sort of workout day or these workouts overlapping where you have multiple back and bicep days at once or multiple chest and tricep days. You have to have a balance with how often you target these specific muscles because these muscles need enough repair and recovery in order for you to really efficiently go into your next workout session and those muscles be prepared for that session, if that makes sense. Sleep, of course, becomes a performance tool in itself. So, quality sleep is going to support muscle repair, hormone regulation, energy focus, and training performance at the same time. Stress has a greater cumulative effect. So, work, family, responsibilities, poor sleep, and hard training all draw from the same recovery capacity. So, really try to be mindful of your stress, learn to, emphasize more mindfulness in your routine. That'll really help a ton, as well as giving yourself time to, again, do breathing exercises, pace yourself in your workouts. See your workouts too as a time for you to be to yourself. That's another thing that I always try to mention to clients is if you're somebody who's like just really is not all in on, exercise or just you want to get a better physique, but you're not really just into that mindset of, really enjoying workouts, really think about it as sort of a me time and a way for you to really take time to yourself. That's the best way that I can describe it. And two, I have days where I go into workouts and it's like I don't want to do these workouts, but I usually try to reframe my mindset and think about this as a time where I can just be to myself. So the next point I want to go over is treating recovery as a part of your training plan. So I did just sort of touch on that, but again, I want to emphasize recovery as much as possible because it's just as important. And I think a lot of us I think it slips our mind when it comes to recovery. So training creates the stimulus. Recovery, again, is going to create the adaptation. So every workout challenges your muscles, but they only become stronger and larger when your body has the time and resources to repair and rebuild. That's like what I mentioned just a moment ago, is that when we have workouts we cycle through our workouts, we don't want to have too much of those workouts back to back because we want to have those muscle groups to be able to have time to repair and rebuild. So if recovery is neglected, even the best training program will eventually produce slower progress. So staying hydrated to maintain performance and recovery is a big part of of course, recovery process. Eating enough protein and calories are really going to help support muscle repair, and getting consistent high quality sleep each night is another major benefit that is going to help with the muscle protein synthesis process that happens post workout and helping with rebuilding those torn muscle fibers that happen during workouts and making them stronger in return. So, the next point I want to go over is viewing setbacks as feedback and not failure. So, this is a really important one to keep in mind, especially again, because a lot of times we can get in our head when it comes to our progression in our routine and how we're really, emphasizing so much of one particular part in our routine and we're not taking sort of a step back and seeing how far we've come. So muscle growth itself is rarely a perfectly straight line. So a missed workout, plateau, slower progress, and difficult training days are all part of that process. Even though it's not what we want to see, those are going to be sort of parts in your routine that are going to naturally happen. So it's not a sign that you've failed. Instead of asking, why am I failing? Ask, what is this teaching me? So see those different aspects of your routine when you have those moments where it seems like nothing is coming together as you expected, see that as a form of what is this teaching me? So muscle growth again, it's rarely a straight line. So always again see those parts of your routine as something that is basically a lesson that you can learn from. So, building confidence through small daily wins. So, real confidence doesn't come from one amazing workout or reaching a single milestone. It grows from consistently keeping the promises you make to yourself. So, every workout completed, every nutritious meal, every quality night of sleep, and every positive choice is strengthening both your body and your belief that you can continue improving. So, again, celebrate consistency over perfection. Showing up regularly is building more confidence than occasional flawless weeks. Focus on controllable actions, completing today's workout, eating enough protein, staying hydrated, and recovering well are all victories worth recognizing. Again, track your small improvements. Those small improvements, and again, that goes back to really thinking about being mindful on tracking what we're doing not only with our workouts, but our nutrition and every other aspect of our life. So improving those small improvements are going to add up in the long term. So better form and extra repetition, improved technique, or increased energy. Even energy could be classified as a form of progression. Those are all signs of that progress that you're making in your routine. Use daily wins to build momentum. So small successes are going to create positive habits that make larger goals feel more achievable. So those small wins that you see day to day, where you're noticing, changes in your strength, maybe you see changes in your physique, maybe again, your energy levels. Think about how you're feeling overall. Are you feeling better, physically? Think about all of those different aspects too as a form of your growth in your routine. So master the fundamentals before looking for shortcuts. This is a big thing that I think a lot of people really get hung up on, I guess you could say. Many people search for the perfect workout, the newest supplement, or a secret training method. But lasting muscle growth is built on mastering more of the fundamentals, the basics. Consistently performing the basics well will always outperform constantly chasing the next shortcut. So this is another thing too that I think, again, it's commonplace, especially now where a lot of people, they don't want to necessarily put in the effort and the work that it would take to get the more sustainable and sufficient results. And this is something that I discussed recently, um, that when it comes to a lot of our, day and age, where you have a lot of different, medicines that promise specific things or supplements that promise specific things, where a lot of people will try to find these quick fixes and they use these fixes and they may find the results, you could say, from these quick fixes, but the fact that they don't have the habits to back those results is what leads them to go back into their old habits, if that makes sense. So when you build a routine and you're building a routine that's, focused on sustainable progress, focusing on the day-to-day progress rather than a quick fix, there's a difference in the mindset there. So if you're somebody who's just getting a quick fix and they're getting something quickly in return, there's not that sense of, earning or ownership of that fix, if that makes sense. Whereas when you build habits and build discipline through the long term, and as you're going through that process and you're earning those results, there's a different aspect to that. And so, too, when you've already sustained and built those habits, it is easier for you to not, I guess for lack of a better term, you know, jump off the wagon or, fall off the wagon, in other words, where you just completely, you know, if you don't have those habits built, it's easier for you to fall back into those old habits that are unhealthy, if that makes sense. So that's a lot of times what happens is that people really look for these shortcuts when it comes to fitness and nutrition, and they don't want to focus on the basics. When the basics, yes, the basics are not easy. It's never going to be easy, but even then, something like this worth, achieving is never going to be easy. It's going to have obstacles no matter what. If it's something that you want to achieve, no matter what you go through, there's going to be obstacles in the way that are just going to be hard to overcome. But when you build that mindset, once you have these obstacles that happen, it makes you stronger mentally and it allows you to overcome, any new hurdles and obstacles that may happen. Prioritize excellent technique, proper form, increases muscle tension, improves safety, and makes every repetition more effective. Another thing too is practicing progressive overload, which is a gradual increase in intensity with your weight. Gradually improve by adding weight repetitions, improving range of motion, having, full range of motion going through those reps, or refining exercise execution over time. Fuel your body consistently. Eat enough protein, carbohydrates, healthy fats, and micronutrient-rich foods, which is, of course, your vitamins, your minerals, anything like that that would be considered, a micronutrient to support performance and recovery overall. So again, you want to focus on really mastering the fundamentals above all else. Alrighty, guys. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. I hope that you found this helpful and valuable, and that it gave you a little bit of insight on how to approach your workout routine and really think about how you can see progress and growth and really build a mindset that's focused on progression overall, as well as building habits at the same time that are in line with that mindset. And again, like what I mentioned, when you have a stronger mindset and when you learn to, overcome all of these different obstacles, it does make it so much easier for you to be able to progress from there. Because if you've faced a really tough challenge and you've overcome that, it already gives you the mindset, okay, if something else comes, I can be able to face that because I've already built that mindset where I know that, this is what happened when everything seemed to kind of fall apart and there was just this major obstacle in the way, but I was able to, tough it out, to go through it and to rise above it stronger. And so when you go into any of those moments or any of those hurdles, because a lot of times, even though we build a structured routine, we get adjusted to it. There was a stream that I mentioned yesterday where, I talked a little bit sort of about the similar topic, but it was somewhat different. But in our routines, a lot of times, we establish a routine, we get adjusted to it, and then something crazy happens and we feel like we need to give up. But you cannot do that. In order to have success when it comes to fitness, you have to be able to learn to adapt to whatever life happens in your routine. Just because you miss a workout or just because some part of your routine isn't, you have a week that's kind of where everything's derailed, you can't let that be the end all be all and that it's not, that you're not going to be successful, if that makes sense. You have to create this mindset where you're focusing on, again, if I've overcome this hurdle, I can do it again, Or when you are facing that initial hurdle and you're not prepared for it, just think about it's going to be so much better when I get past this, and I'm going to be so much stronger outside of that. So, again, I know mindset is something that is very difficult to train, and it took me a while, but once you learn to really shift your perspective in the right way, it does make a drastic difference in how you see the next challenges and obstacles that are going to come your way. Because naturally, no matter what happens, they're going to come your way. It's just going to happen, and you just have to be prepared for when those different moments come your way. So thank you guys once again for watching. I hope that you found this helpful and valuable. Again, you can visit bponlinefitness.com for more information related to online fitness coaching, as well as free fitness, nutrition, and recovery related resources. Also, these streams are every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. I also do streams every Tuesday on TikTok. And then on YouTube, every other Thursday, I've been doing streams there at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time Thursdays. And then, of course, again, the TikTok streams are Tuesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. So thank you guys once again for watching. And I will see you guys next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time in the next live stream. So thank you guys once again.